Welcome back to Western Mass News. A little fall crisp in the air, Don.
Apparently a lot of fall fans in this building, as a matter of fact.
Oh, my goodness. Melody in the back room letting us know the pumpkin spice lattes are in. I saw Jana posted. She probably had one in her cup.
It's still summer. Can we stop rushing it? I mean, I know a lot of people were thrilled with the fall preview today, but that's nothing. I was actually in Costco last night with my wife. They got the Christmas trees out.
Preposterous.
Good Lord.
Let us enjoy it. It's not like it's been a gorgeous summer. I mean,
It hasn't. I mean, it really hasn't.
Nope.
It hasn't been much of a summer at all. But if you want that summer-like feel, it's back tomorrow. Let's take a look at year 24. As we head on into the overnight, we're going to see the skies clear out. We had a low pressure, an upper-level low, move through the region as we made our way through the afternoon. It hasn't really had a lot of moisture associated with it. There are a few showers in portions of Vermont and New Hampshire, but I think as we push through the evening, we'll see the clouds give way to some clearing skies. It is going to be a cool night tonight. Temperatures tonight going to dip down into the 50s, and as we wake up tomorrow morning, I think we're starting out with a lot of sunshine, a cool start, but we're going to warm very nicely tomorrow. In fact, tomorrow will feel more like mid-August as we get back into the lower and middle 80s. Now, dew points today have been running in the 50s. I think tomorrow those dew points are going to start to climb a little bit into the mid to perhaps upper 50s tomorrow afternoon. And we may see some clouds mix in as we head towards the mid to late afternoon hours, but certainly going to be a warmer day than what we have seen out there this afternoon. In fact, mid to upper 80s tomorrow. So actually a couple of degrees above where we should be for this time of year. The average high is around 82. And then that above normal temperature trend or slightly above normal temperature trend will continue as we start off the work week. So as we take a look at our Monarch Place sky cam, you can see we still have a fair amount of clouds out there at this hour. Temperature right now at 72, westerly wind at 10. Dew points are in the lower 50s, so the air mass is rather comfortable out there. 67 right now, Worcester, 72 Boston and Providence, Hartford 77, New Haven right now coming in at 79. But look at these dew points, low to middle 50s, so a dry air mass in place. These numbers may come up a little bit tomorrow, and then we'll really start to see that humidity build in tomorrow night and as we head on into the day on Monday before a weak disturbance comes through with a chance for a shower. So gradual clearing overnight. The August temperatures are back tomorrow, and there will be that chance for a shower on Monday, and Monday will also feel a bit more humid as well. So satellite and radar, you can see we still have some clouds out there at this hour, and you do see some showers off to our north. That is that upper level low that is moving through the region. But you get past the Albany area, you see the skies are beginning to clear, so we will see the skies clearing overnight tonight, and then a lot of sunshine coming our way tomorrow. Low to middle 80s both Sunday and Monday. Weak system comes through Monday afternoon with a chance for a shower, and then behind that we'll cool things back down into the upper 70s on Tuesday. In fact, we could be looking at a nice little stretch of dry weather here that could take us through much of next week. Then as we head on into Friday night and into next Saturday, looks like the shower and thunderstorm threat may return. That's Check Your Forecast. Have a great evening. Matt, over to you.
Thanks, Don. The U.S.